Hello, learners. We're going to be talking about immigration during the Industrial Revolution, but to understand immigration during any time period in U.S. history, you do need to understand the complete story of U.S. immigration. In fact, we've talked about this a lot this year. The United States is a country of immigrants, all right? Unless you are Native American or you have family that is a good majority Native American, you're from a history of immigration. Okay. So we're going to be watching a video today called History of U.S. Immigration. And it's really cool because it's going to give you a lot of data, a lot of information, and it kind of goes quick. So I wanted to preview some things for you. The first thing I wanted to let you know is it's going to pop up some information, some blurbs about important pieces of U.S. immigration. Off to the left, you're going to find some different numbers, and that's how many people are immigrating during a certain decade or during a period of time. And then on the bottom, probably one of the most unique things, I wish it was larger, but it's not. It'd be the total number of immigrants by decade. And so you can see this here. Really tough to see. So what I did was I blew it up for you. And I just want you to pay attention to how the number of immigrants per decade are going up and down from the different areas. And the colors here match the colors from the different areas. Okay, so if you follow the purple line, that's number of immigrants from Europe. So keep all that in the back of your mind as you're watching that video to try to gain an understanding of the history of U.S. immigration. We could spend weeks on this. We don't have time. I just want to give you a good quick story of U.S. immigration. The other thing I want you to look at today are a couple of graphs, okay? Now, before we dive into what these graphs mean, I just want to talk about this just a little bit. The first thing when you look at a graph is you have to examine what the graph is actually telling you. So these two graphs are kind of the same, but kind of different. This one is U.S. immigration by percentage, okay? So this would be the percentage of the population coming per year, all right? So if I was to look at this, I'd say that during the 1950s, German, that'd be the medium blue there, is about 4% of the United States population was immigrating from Germany. Okay, the second graph, we'll call that graph B, is the total number coming during that time. So as I look to the spike in data here, we have the orange, which would be immigration from Mexico. Sure, that data looks like it's a lot of people coming at that time, which it is. It's the most immigrants in history. It's in the 90s. However, if you look at that data when you compare it to the percentage of U.S. population, it's going to look a little bit different. So sometimes you have to find a third graph or actual more information about the subject. So I pulled this graph up. We'll call this graph C. And this is, you can see why this number looks huge here, but when I compare it to a percentage of the United States population, it's not as much because obviously the population of the United States is growing. So you really have to understand what the graphs are telling you before you can dive too deep. You should pay attention to the X and Y axis, okay? In this case, it's years, and in this graph, it's percentage, but in this graph, it's total number of people. So yes, you're going to use a little bit of math today in social studies. A third thing that I always look for are patterns, trends, or unique data. For example, one of the first things I noticed in this graph was this blue spike right here in the 1950s and 40s. Well, if you know U.S. history, you're like, wait a minute, I know what's going on in Germany. It's called World War II. That's why you're having a spike of Germans immigrating during that time. As you look here, you have a large number of Italians and Russians and people from Hungary coming in. You have spikes during the Industrial Revolution of what's going on there in Ireland, the potato famine, and Germany, political chaos. So it's important to understand the entire picture, okay? The entire picture of immigration as we look specifically to the Industrial Revolution. The final thing you have to do is use some critical thinking to understand the data. So I'm going to be asking you just a few questions. You need to look at the graphs and answer those the best you can. As I look at these, I look and I say, okay, huge spike in immigration when regards to the percent of the U.S. population. Okay, at this time, 4% during these decades were people who are immigrating from Ireland and Germany. Why? Well, we'll talk about that soon enough. But jobs in America, farmland in America, opportunity, and there's that common trend with immigration is land of opportunity. People coming here for a fresh start. People coming here to make money. People coming here they talk a lot about push and pull. Sometimes people are pushed out of their country. Maybe their country is having a lot of problems, so they're getting pushed out. But also, sometimes people are getting pulled to the United States, maybe jobs, family. People are getting pulled and pushed from countries, and that is the quick story of immigration. So, really want you to examine these two graphs today. Take a look at it. Look at some different spikes in immigration, some different chunks of data, and that'll give you a little snapshot of the history of the United States when it comes to immigration. You could literally spend weeks on this. We don't have that much time, but I wanted to share all this with you. As always, if you have any questions, you can let me know, and good luck with your learning today.